everyone. Today we're going to be doing a really fun video where we make houses based off of different ores. So we're going to be taking these 5 ores, iron, diamond, copper, redstone, and gold, and we're going to create a color palette with them and then make an entire house inspired by it. So here are our different color palettes. First we have iron, so we're going to use, of course, iron, spruce planks, mossy stone, some green terracotta, and some smooth stone. Then we have our diamond palette with diamonds, warped planks, warped stem, and deep slate tiles. After that, we have our copper with copper, oak, and birch planks and bricks. Then we have our redstone with redstone, stone, polished deep slate, dark oak planks, and polished diorite. And lastly, we have our gold palette with gold, oak planks, stripped mangrove log, mud bricks, and copper. Let's do it! So the first house that I worked on was the iron house, and I kind of wanted this to be kind of like a cabin in the woods kind of vibe with the mossy stone and the terracotta and the spruce planks. I just figured like that's kind of the vibe I was going with. And to be honest, the hardest part about this house was actually incorporating the iron. This was the first house I did, so I really didn't know exactly how I wanted to put it in. Obviously, I think it turned out good because that's why I have it on here, but it was certainly a process. I also wanted it to be above the ground just so it could have like a walkway going up and into the house in the same way that you'd probably have a path in the woods, or at least like one for a hiking trail, that kind of thing. And I added the little patio in the back just because I thought that it would be nice, and also it kind of breaks up the back so it's not just one flat wall. And I also love the chimney. I was trying to figure that out for so long, but I eventually like fixed it to get it correct because I was like, how do people get it so small? But then I found out that you can put trapdoors on campfires, so that's how I did that. I also love that I added all of the vines and the moss around the whole thing, because not only do I think it looks like a cabin in the woods, I think it looks like one of those kind of abandoned cabin in the woods. Or if you've ever seen the show Grimm, I know this might be kind of a random example, but I think it's one of the first episodes they like go to a cabin in the woods, that kind of like old, maybe abandoned, but you're not entirely sure, like you kind of want to check, but you're like, am I about to get murdered type of thing. But I love that. And I also love that I did a little pattern on the floor on the inside. I always just like those types of floor patterns just because it makes the house look so much more interesting by doing something really simple. But overall, I think it turned out great. I was kind of stressed out about the roof because I will admit I'm not the best at roofs, but I think that looks good too. Next was the diamond house, and I originally had quartz bricks in the palette because I thought it would go well, and I think it would if I didn't make the house that I did. I think that this house was a little too traditional as opposed to like if I made a really modern house, then I think it would go great. But like, so color wise it was great, practically not a good idea, but I like how it was just really simple and nothing crazy, just because I feel like with these colors, I think if I did something really grand, it could be like really hard to look at. That sounds kind of mean, but you know what I mean, where it's like you see these big houses and then it's like completely yellow. You're like, that's too much. That's I can't do this right now. And I also loved using the trapdoors, especially around the door, because I think that just like looks really fun and grand. So I guess I did make it kind of grand, but just not in scale size. And I think it would be great as like a little starter home just because of the size, but then also like the blocks that you need to get, probably not starter. It's very, I would definitely call it hypocritical. It's called the diamond house, parentheses, the hypocritical house, because you literally need warped planks and quartz from the nether, and then also diamond blocks. Oh god, what have I created? Next we have the copper house, which was actually originally going to be an emerald house. That's why you will see me be placing emeralds, but I wanted to include this beginning part because I get the general structure and kind of vibe down with the emeralds, but I get rid of them. I really tried to use them, but I was like, these blocks are too weird. I can't do it in this. And especially in the style, I was kind of thinking like a British, I don't want to say townhouse because that's not the right word, but like a standard British brick house. As it was kind of the vibe, just because I was using the bricks and I was like, this is the first brick type house that I think of, so that's what I'll go with. The only one that has a second floor, which is kind of fun and different. And also, if you're wondering about the wood that's across the bottom on the right side, I tried to make a realistic looking garage. Obviously we don't have cars in the game and we don't have I mean, I guess you could kind of make a working garage door with some redstone stuff. I mean, I couldn't right now, but I'm sure someone could. But I just thought that would be nice, especially having the half slabs there. Then it's like kind of creates like a fake window, but nothing can get through, so it's okay. I also really like the path going up to the house. I feel like it really helps make the front yard look better, kind of a direction of where to go. But overall, I really like the look of this house. Throughout the whole thing, before I switched to the copper, I was just like so stressed. Like, I was like, this looks so bad. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. And then once I switched to the copper, there were still some minor bumps then, but I think it turned out so much better with that. Next is the redstone house. And to be honest, if you can tell by my voice, I think this one's my favorite. Either this one or the iron one. I just wanted to go completely different with this one, so I basically made a fake cave as much as I could. And just because like when I think of, especially with the color palette that I chose, I definitely think of caves, you know, with the stone and the deep slate. It just made sense for it, and I love that I kind of like made it really practical. It feels like it would be someone that loves caving or exploring. They would just like set up shop down there, and I love all of the little like details that I put in. Then you'll see I have a door at the end, you'll see in there. But the only way I could put the front, I just put glass because I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do with the front, because I was like, if this is supposed to be like a slice out of a cave, but I also don't want it just to be completely open, so I put the glass there. I actually did try to find texture pack or something to combine the glass, but I couldn't find anyone, because this one I'm actually doing in 1.19.4, which I guess is my mistake, because I couldn't find any texture pack that would work for that. So unfortunately you have to get the lines of glass everywhere, but I do a tour at the end, so stick around for that. It's a really good house. I really like this one. It's really cute. And lastly, this is the gold house. I think it's kind of fun that I also use copper on this one. Of course, originally when I was picking the color palettes, I didn't think copper was going to be one of the other options, but I like that I decided to stick with it anyway. And also, I totally didn't start with the house when I did this. I made a fishing spot. I have no idea why I picked that, but I think it's because of the mud. I was like, we're gonna go swamp. That's the way to do this. Unfortunately, they don't have like different buckets of water based on what biome you're in, so I couldn't pick like warm water or swamp water was what I wanted. So just imagine all of the water that's around here. Imagine it as swamp water. That was the intention. I decided to put this one up on stilts like we would be in a swamp, or like how a witch's hut's kind of like that, but of course a witch doesn't live here. I mean, one could. No judgment about who lives here. I think in the tour I'm gonna say that it's like for a grumpy old man. I think that's just what I picture when I picture people that fish. That's kind of a rude stereotype if I think about it, but you know, to each their own, I guess. I really like this one because it's just so weird. I'm just picturing like as someone's getting older, they're just replacing their like old wooden planks with like gold and copper and things, and then they're like other things are broken, they run out, so they're like, oh, I guess I'll start using the mud. I also really like that I made it a square roof just because I hadn't done that on one of the houses yet, and I think that it kind of like fit the vibe of the fisherman's hat from the villagers. And now that all of our houses are complete, let's do a little tour. First, we have the iron, where I went with a really rustic feel. It has this path coming up inside, vines everywhere, and a cute pattern and a fireplace on the inside. And we also have a little patio balcony area in the back. I'm really happy with this one. It was a rather difficult process, but I think it turned out great in the end. Next, we have the diamond house. I went very nether with this one. Not intentionally, it just kind of happened. And I like that I used trapdoors instead of glass for the windows, just because it's a little different and adds a little bit more texture. Next, we have the coffer, which I think this is probably the most realistic looking one, I guess. I feel like, well, houses are like made out of bricks, so it kind of makes sense. This one even has a second floor, which is exciting. This is the only one I did this with. Definitely the hardest, I think, to live inside, but still cute. Next, we have the redstone, which this one I'm really happy with, just because it was so different from the others, and how it's like living in a cave, and we got the redstone dust on the ground, and all of the utilitarian items. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm going with it. I'm really happy that I did something that was completely different than the other houses. And last but not least, we have the gold house, which I think this little fishing spot is so cute, and I love that it's like above this water. I can just picture an old grumpy man living here. Why do I keep building houses for old grumpy men that fish? I feel like that's starting to become a theme, and I don't know how I feel about it. But that is it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!